My very first best bet of week 1 of the 2017 college football season. This is Brad Powers in the pregame.com studios just off the Vegas Strip. And I know you're going to say, hey, Brad, college football, it's 5 months away. I'm telling you right now, there's a lot of soft lines out there in the marketplace, and we're going to take advantage of one here in a second.
And the steam is on the Irish, even here in April. Who do you got?
I like the Irish in this one. We're going to take Notre Dame -10. That's right. But let's talk about their opponent in this regard, Temple. I think Temple's going to be very overrated this year. This is a Temple team that's off 2 historically great seasons. In fact, they won 20 games in the total of those 2 seasons. That's the most in school history. And I'm going to tell you, this is a team that covered 12 straight games at one point last year, so they're very well thought of in the marketplace. But this will be a completely different team this year. Only 10 returning starters, and I don't think the betting markets are going to downgrade them enough, thus making them overrated.
So only 10 returning starters. We got a team that's much less experienced. We also have a brand new head coach. Coach Collins takes over. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, Jeff Collins comes over from Florida. He was a defensive coordinator. No head coaching experience for him, and he's got some big shoes to fill here, Fez. I mean, Matt Rule did a tremendous job. He's off to Baylor, and I always like playing kind of against those coaches that don't have prior head coaching experience. I think it's a negative factor for Temple.
Now let's talk about the line move. Opens -6. It's at -10. In week 5, if we did a video and you came in and laid -10, I'd start screaming at you for a donkey play. But week 1 is a lot different than week 5, especially in April. And by the way, when we say steam is on the Irish, I think we should say we are on the Irish. You laid 6. Somebody laid 7. I got there late, relatively. Laid 8. I laid 9. And I think it's a situation similar to the Georgia State game last year. You get out Georgia State plus 5.5. And people stopped betting it when they hit pick'em until the opening week when they laid 2, 3, 4, and it closed -5.5. And all of those numbers got the money. It was just the right side, right?
Yeah, no question. And let's talk about what the number should be in this game. And on a neutral field, I have Notre Dame about 11 points better than Temple at this point in my early season power ranks. The factor is, though, this game isn't played on a neutral fest. It's at Notre Dame Stadium, a remodeled Notre Dame Stadium that could be even louder. So I'm going to give them 4 points of home field advantage. So 11 plus 4, you do the math. This line should be around 2 touchdowns. And I'll make a projection right now. When this game kicks off, it's going to be very close to 14, if not above 14.
And a trivia question for you. When would you rather have -11 than -6? And I think this is the case where if you could bet what the closing number would be, you'd much rather say, I will bet it will be higher than -11 than take your chances with the actual ticket -6 because, hey, weird stuff could happen and that bet could lose. I don't think the -11 bet, frankly, can lose. I'm confident this spread's going even higher. Your second handicap.
Well, let's talk about this Notre Dame team. I said Temple's overrated. Notre Dame's going to be underrated. They're off an historically poor season. Fez, they went 4-8 straight up, 4-8 against the spread, but they were much better than their record indicated. They lost 7 games by 8 points or less, and despite the fact, Fez, they're 4-8, they still outscored their opposition by 3 points per game. Yards per game nearly outgained their opponents by 40 yards per game. Your favorite wise guy stat, yards per play differential for Notre Dame, they're plus 0.7. Let's put that in perspective. For every play, they're outgaining or getting an advantage of nearly an entire yard. Add that all up, and if you just blankly looked at the stats of a team like that, you would say, hey, that's a 7-8 win team, not a 4-8 team.
And I can see what happened to the odds makers here. They saw Temple with all those wins, and they got Notre Dame, normally a team that they would overvalue in the preseason, but they look at that bad win-loss record. They look at all those ridiculous losses to teams like Texas last year, and they said, wow, there's just no way Notre Dame could be, more than a -6-point favorite, completely missing the point that the power ratings going like this, right?
No question. And they're going to get reaffirmed here in about a month. We're taping this in early April. Well, at the end of the month, the NFL draft. Key position, quarterback. And they're going to see possibly Notre Dame's quarterback from last year get taken in the first round. I think that's going to reaffirm that notion that, hey, Notre Dame was poor last year. They lost arguably their best player at the most important position. And again, I think their backup is even more talented, so thus creating even more value on the Irish.
You can shop around. I've seen -10. I've seen -10.5 in this game. I like it. I bet it. Let's make it official.
Yeah, I bet it early, often, and a lot, and let's make this official. We'll take a Notre Dame -10. Their opponent, Temple, is overrated. They're off 2 historically good seasons. Teams will take, and especially Temple, is going to take a major step back, and the power ratings are not going to be downgraded enough. Meanwhile, Notre Dame is underrated. They're off an historically poor season, but they were much better than their 4-8 record indicated. Add it all up, Notre Dame -10 is your first Week 1 college football pick, and we'll have more videos at pregame.com.